Hello, what's up out there to all of my fellow gold diggers? This is your girl Rita, also known as the self-proclaimed gold digger. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. I am so glad to have you. But if you are a fellow gold digger, welcome back. Y'all know I love and I appreciate each and every one of you. And y'all, this was an impromptu last minute side hustle Saturday that I decided to put on because I did not announce it on Tuesday night during Tipsy Tuesday. But this came to me just a couple of days ago. So I was like, let me do a side hustle Saturday about it. And what it is, we're going to be talking about, are you charging your worth or are you charging your value? Value is probably a better term to use. But real quick, before I get into it, I got to do my social media checks really quickly. And then we're also going to do the side hustle song and make sure everything is good. All right, so let me check one other spot. I hope y'all are having a good weekend. Yeah, I also decided to do the side hustle Saturday because I don't know when I'm going to be able to do another one just because the next few weekends are going to be kind of busy. But all right, so we're good on my social media. And as always, I want to say thank you so much to the Gold Digger fam. Y'all know I love y'all. Y'all, our community is growing. So if you are a new Gold Digger and you're in the live or you're watching the replay, just say hello. I would love to show you some love, but thank you so much. The channel is continuing to grow, and I definitely appreciate your support. All right, y'all. So we're going to get into this video. Like I said, it's going to be impromptu, but I got some tough love. I'm going to keep it real with y'all, okay? But let me do the side hustle song. Y'all, hold on. I had to think about it. I haven't done this song in so long. All right. It's Side Hustle Saturday. Side Hustle Saturday. Ooh, it's Saturday. Ooh, it's Saturday. It's Side Hustle Saturday. All right, so that was the side hustle song. We are going to go ahead and jump into it. So we are going to be talking about charging your worth. Are you charging your worth? And I'm going to be talking about my notary business because I know I haven't done a notary video in a while. So for those of you who have been following me because of notary stuff, here you go. Here is some information about notary, okay? But I will say this. If you are not a notary, don't have a notary business, the things that I'm talking about, they apply to any business. And if you've seen any of my videos, you can parlay all the information that I talk about, or most of the information that I talk about, and it can apply to any business that you have, okay? So even though I might be saying notary, even though I might be mentioning notary, see how you can apply it to your business, because these are just regular business principles that I'm going to be sharing with you. Even though notary, I'll be using notary as an example, you can apply it to any business that you have, okay? So just keep that in mind if you are not a notary, all right? So I got a few little notes, but y'all, really, I just quickly wrote some stuff down because, like I said, it's going to be very impromptu. These are things that I was just thinking about, some stuff that I had seen from time to time, not so well, stuff I see from time to time in some of the notary groups that I'm in, especially for new notaries. Hopefully this information will be helpful for you as well as for established notaries. Let's see. And I see I have some comments. Let's see. Okay, Swag Found. What's up? They say hello, first time here. And I think, okay, yes, it says she is also, I think it's a female. So glad to have you. Thank you for joining the Gold Digger family. And she says, I'm interested in notary as well. All right, so I don't know what you're doing now, but like I said, notary is, just as an overview, notary can be a good side hustle to get into. Y'all know I got into it because of loan signings, which in my earlier videos, I talked more about loan signings. Now, y'all, your girl don't really mess with too many loan signings. Nothing against them. It's just more work than what I'm willing to do for the price that they're willing to pay. I may do them from time to time, but quite honestly, I probably have not done a loan signing all year. Maybe I've done a loan app, but I really haven't done much loan signings. I usually am doing more general notary work in terms of like apostilles or wedding ceremonies, as well as I just recently did a power of attorney. So I'm usually doing some of the types of jobs that are going to pay you a little bit higher and they don't take as much time or a lot of back and forth like what the loan signings do. So that's just the lane that I'm in. But like I said, this stuff can apply to any business that you're in. So the first thing I have down in my notes is when you are running a side hustle, when you have a business that you are doing on the side, or you're trying to start a new business, or you've gotten into some kind of entrepreneur endeavor, the first thing you need to do is make sure you have shifted your mindset. And by what I mean by shifting your mindset is you need to start thinking as a CEO or as a business at the very minimum. If you're not thinking at a CEO level, because I can't say 100% that I'm thinking at a CEO level, but at least be thinking as a business owner and not as an employee. Okay, because a title does not mean anything. Just because you own your own business, just because you started a side hustle, just because you started doing this thing, that you having that title, you calling yourself a CEO, it doesn't mean anything if you have not shifted your mindset. So oftentimes some people will start businesses or start a side hustle and still be thinking like an employee and not so much as an employer or a business owner. And I see this often in the notary business just because I'm in different notary groups. So I'm exposed to it, I guess, a little bit more as opposed to other areas. And you're coming from a place or a space where you're getting paid by the hour. And so you think once you start making this money and it's more than what you make an hour, then this is what you're supposed to charge. And that is not the case. Okay, that is not the case. There are too many factors that go into whatever salary you were getting paid an hour. If you were getting paid $20 an hour working at your 9 to 5 job and you're excited because you just did a notary job and you got paid $25, $30 and it only took you 20, 30 minutes to do it, you're excited because you're like, well, it takes me, I have to work a whole hour to get $20 and I just made $30 within 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever for half the time. That's good. Yes, you are doing better than what you would be doing at your regular job. But what you need to take into consideration is that job is scheduling you for at least, I'm hoping, at least at the minimum 4 hours a day. So, or 8 hours a day. So you're coming in on a regular basis. These notary jobs are not always consistent. Also, usually with the notary jobs, if you're a mobile notary like I am, you have to factor in your travel time, like traveling to get there, traveling, the time it takes to actually do it and getting back. So this isn't just like your regular job. So oftentimes I see new notaries getting excited because they did some general notary work or they did, I don't know, a loan signing or something like that. And they made $75, $80. And it only, like for a loan signing, maybe it only took them an hour and they usually get paid $20 an hour. So they think that they're winning. But, and who am I to say that you're not winning? But you are doing better. But it's so much stuff, so much other things that you need to take into consideration. Like this, you want to have something that is consistent. Your job is more consistent with them guaranteeing you certain hours. So don't get too excited too quickly about some of that stuff, especially when it comes to the general notary work and you start charging your own prices. Because I know I've had customers tell me that, well, this person only is going to charge this and you're charging this. I'm like, go. I don't say it like that, but I'm like, that's fine. Go with whoever you feel is going to be the best. But I know I'm going to charge my worth or charge my value because, my worth is priceless. So I'm going to charge the value that I'm providing for the services that I'm providing. So oftentimes a lot of us come into this because we have that mindset of us getting paid per hour. And that's what, as long as we're making more than what we would per hour or similar to what we would per hour for a shorter amount of time, then we think that we are doing well. And that is not necessarily the case. So you have to shift your mindset from being just an employee to now being a business owner. And as a business owner, you don't get paid for your time. You do not get paid for your time. As a business owner, I've had my own business and I had different businesses, prior to this as well. So I've had my own business for 8 years. I don't get paid for my time at all. I don't. I get paid for my value. But if I was getting paid for my time, I would be in the hole because there's so many hours I put into my business where I don't reap the return of that. But whatever service I'm providing, I'm getting paid for the value one-on-one for that client. But there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that I'm not getting paid for. And I see I have a few more comments, so I'm going to look at those really quick. And then we're going to talk about some more stuff. What's up, Melissa? She says, and let's see, I think this is your first time because I haven't seen your face before. So welcome. She says, hello, I'm a newly commissioned notary in Las Vegas. I decided to skip right by loan signings and go straight for apostilles. Very good, because for me, apostilles is where the money is at. Just trying to get everything up and going business-wise first. Well, I wish you the best. And Swag Fan was telling Melissa, hello. Look at y'all. See? And Melissa was telling her hello. See, y'all are so wonderful in this community. So congratulations, Melissa, on starting as a notary and looking into apostilles, especially in Vegas. Apostilles is a lucrative business. It really is. And I always say this, whenever I talk about pricing, I'm never going to tell you what to charge, but the principles I'm teaching you is at least showing you how you should charge and how you should be factoring in the things that the services that you are providing, or products, if you have a product-based business, what you are providing for them. But you want to make sure, just like I was mentioning earlier, don't charge for your time, charge for the value that you're providing. And I understand, especially with a lot of new notaries, you don't always understand the value of the service that you're providing. If you were like me, I used a notary, but you didn't, I don't really remember using a notary, but I had to use a notary because I had, I bought a home or whatever. And I know a notary had came when we refinanced and that kind of stuff. But exactly, what they kind of did, it was just part of the process. I wasn't really thinking about it. I'm sure it was like through my mortgage company and all that kind of thing. But with you being new, you just have to think about what you're providing. So if you do loan signings, those loan documents, you are helping someone buy a home. What is the value of a home? You are helping someone sell a home. You are helping someone refinance. Maybe you're doing a loan modification where someone has gotten behind on their payments, or they had to make some changes in their loan to get caught up. This service that you're providing is helping these people for the loan modification stay in the home that they have. If you're doing a power of attorney, oftentimes people are in, I don't want to say dire situations, but they're in tenuous situations where this person might not have a whole lot longer to live, or that you're doing a will and this is towards the end of someone's life. So the value you're providing is helping this family know how that funds are going to be allocated, helping them relieve some of the family tension that might come with the loved one passing away. So you are providing a valuable service. To you, it might just be like, I'm signing loan documents, I'm signing some paperwork, I'm signing some different documents, but you are providing a valuable service. You are helping to relieve stress for people if it's a, power of attorney, will, that kind of thing. Also, if you're able to do weddings, like in South Carolina, we're able to do weddings. That is a big step for someone. That is literally a contract binding two people together for the rest of their lives. And it's hard to get out of that contract. So it's like, this is a very important life step. Like, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, usually people, when they think of their life trajectory or their career or how they feel like their life is going to play out, like most people look at, okay, I want to, they might want to graduate from high school, go to college, get married, and buy a house. Like, two of those major life events are what we as notaries help people, or can possibly help people do. And even if you can't marry people in your state, there's still a way around that you can become licensed to be able to do that. So you're helping people with these big life transitions. So you are providing a valuable service. And all you're doing, oftentimes what some people are looking at it as, oh, I'm just signing some documents. I was able to get these documents signed in 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever, depending on what type of document it was. But it's so much bigger than that. It's so much more than that. And you're looking at it as a time thing. Like, it only took me 15 minutes. Yeah, it might have only taken you 15 minutes, but if you did it incorrectly, this can cost somebody hours of their time. It could possibly cost them more money if they're unable to close on their home when they're supposed to, or sell their home when they're supposed to, or you didn't fill out their power of attorney correctly, or the will wasn't notarized correctly. Now the family is having issues. So you're just looking at it from a time component. Oh, it only took me this long to do it. But the value that you're providing is so much more. So you need to look at it from that aspect. And once again, like I said, I'm talking about notary stuff, but still look at it for your business. Even if you have a product-based business, it might be something, oh, it only takes me a few minutes to make this or sell this or whatever. That's if everything goes right. What happens if something goes wrong? What is it costing you for you to put in money for your supplies, put in money for the advertising, all that kind of stuff? Don't look at it as a time thing. And that's what I'm talking about, shifting your mindset from just being getting paid like as an employer to like actually looking at yourself as a business owner, because that's essentially what you are. You are now a business owner of your own business. It might only be a one-person business because you're the only person in there, but at the end of the day, you have to protect the business and protect yourself and make sure it is going to be something that's profitable to you. So I have a few things that I'm going to talk about. One of them I've already mentioned is you need to think about, when it comes to your pricing and pricing your services, pricing your products, is what value am I providing? And let's get into it a little bit just about products. So depending on what kind of products you sell, you can charge whatever you like. But have you ever looked at, since we talked about weddings, since as a notary, some of us can do weddings, but have you looked at like the price of a wedding dress? Why do they charge so much for a wedding dress versus like a regular dress? Yes, it is more elaborate. Yes, it's beautiful, but they use the same, I won't say the same fabric, but they use similar fabric to make the dress. Like I know my wedding dress was, it wasn't very elaborate or whatever, but if it was black or something like that, or purple, it might very well look like a regular dress other than having the train and stuff on it. Like, it didn't really cost a whole lot more for them because it wasn't like a whole lot more fabric. It probably didn't cost them a whole lot more time to make the dress compared to a regular dress, so to speak. But the value of that wedding dress is going to be higher than a dress of that same kind of design in a different color, because it has the title, or it has the name assigned to it that it's a wedding dress. And because of that, they know that someone who picks out a wedding dress, they understand the value of what they are providing. This is a once in a lifetime occasion for most people, it's a once in a lifetime occasion that someone is going to be experiencing. So they assign a higher value to the dress because they know it's not going to happen often, or it typically doesn't happen often. So that's what I mean when you need to know what value you're providing. When you're providing a higher value, even if it's something simple, you can charge more for it because it's a once in a lifetime, or it's something that is not happening on a regular basis, or it's something more special about it. And that's what you have to look at when it comes to the notary business, as well as whatever business you have. Now, if you're just selling like regular everyday t-shirts or something, then yeah, it's kind of hard for you to assign a different value, which is also why companies, they'll have a story behind their brand. So they're like, I created these shirts because it is in remembrance of, I don't know, my sister who battled this particular condition. So we make these shirts in this particular color and we sell it, and we donate a certain proceeds of our money to this particular charity. So that's why you see brands creating like these stories and stuff behind it. Well, it's not the whole reason, but it helps them to be able to assign more value, where a regular shirt it's just not a regular shirt. It's a story behind it. It gives you something to feel motivated about, something for you to feel, I won't say compassionate, but it evokes some kind of emotion for you, where you are like, well, it's only a little white shirt with this little design. Normally I might pay like $5 for it, but I'm willing to give them $15. So if you have products, you need to find a way for you to kind of stand out in the marketplace or if your products are not unique. Now, if your products are unique, then it's easier for you to stand out and you can assign a higher value to it, whether it's unique in terms of durability, unique in terms of creativity, unique in terms of the story that you have behind it, the backstory to it. So you need to find some kind of uniqueness. People are going to pay for things that they feel are special. If it doesn't feel like it's special, then they're not really willing to pay for it. And the same thing applies for the notary business too. A lot of the things that we're doing, I won't say special, but some of the general notary work, no, it might not be special. So you might be willing to give somebody a discount because they're not as willing to pay this price because it's just something regular, so to speak, versus buying a home or doing a wedding or having to do an apostille. That, especially with the apostilles, it is a different type of experience, as well as there's different, I won't say protocols, but it's just different procedures that you need to follow. It's different steps that have to take place, and you need to make sure you're following like they're supposed to, so that there are no issues, there are no problems, and you don't have to go back and repeat anything. So I cannot emphasize enough, know the value that you are providing. Stop charging based on what you used to make per hour or a little more than what you used to make per hour and think that that's okay. That is kind of like diminishing some of the services for notary work. And, I won't say making others look bad, but I guess that's why sometimes I'll get pushback when people are like, oh, you charge that? I can get it done at the bank for free. And we're going to talk about the people who say they can get it done at the bank for free, because I have something to say about that as well. All right, let's see. What's up, April? How are you? I'm so glad you were able to join. April is one of the A1 day ones, so we got some new people on here. And April says it is a luxury item. Yes, like the wedding dress is a luxury item. And they are saying hello in the chat. Thank y'all so much for engaging with one another too. All right, so the next thing when it comes to assigning your price or charging for your services in your business, notary business or otherwise, is you want to ask yourself, what is it costing me? And what I mean by that is, if you have a product-based business, you want to see what is it costing you? Like what does the product cost? What does your production time cost? What does, the marketing cost? You want to factor all that stuff in to the cost that you ultimately assign to the product. Same thing for notary work as well. We don't really have a whole lot of costs or whatever. But if you're having to print out stuff, especially if you're doing loan signings, you want to think about, okay, what is it costing me to print out these 200-page documents? How much is my ink? Like, if I were to assign a dollar value per loan signing job or whatever, is it $5, $10 that is actually costing me in terms of product that I'm losing, as well as wear and tear on the printer or the machine, as well as what is it costing you, especially if you're a mobile notary, what is it costing you in terms of like wear and tear on your vehicle, going back and forth? Are you having to do, oil changes more frequently because you've accumulated more miles on the car? So that's why I say you need to take other things into consideration, because you're going as a mobile notary, you're going back and forth to different places, versus at your regular job, you just go there one time, come home one time. Like, you're not doing a whole bunch of running around. Also, what is it costing you in terms of the time? Like, how long will it take you to do this signing? How long will it take you to make this particular product? So you want to factor that in. Is there any follow-up that I have to do? If there is follow-up, what is that costing me? How long does it take for me to, follow up with the signing service or follow up with a client and send them, an email or a thank you, or let them know? Or Like with loan signings, the follow-up is like sometimes it's scanning or having to drop off the loan package somewhere else. So even though the signing only took you 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever, you still have to go and drop the package off. And so now that is costing you some time as well. So yeah, that's what I said. Looking at it as just how long does it take you to actually complete the assignment? Yeah, it might not take you long to complete the actual notary signing job or whatever, but if there's any follow up associated with it, that is a time cost as well. And the other thing you want to think about, what is it costing you? And this is my biggest thing, that this is my main factor that I use when I'm assigning a cost, or not really assigning a cost. It's more so whether or not I'm going to do the job or not, is what is it costing me in terms of my peace and quote or slash aggravation. Like, is this going to be aggravating for me? Like, is this going to be like a whole bunch of back and forth? Is this going to be way too time consuming and not worth it? Things or something of that nature. So as an example, with y'all know I do as a notary, I love doing the apostilles and I love doing weddings. Weddings are still my favorite thing to do as a notary, but I definitely have it factored in my price how much aggravation is going to cost me. Because, like I said, getting married is typically a one-time event. Typically, it's not always, but typically it's a one-time event. And I do small weddings. I have not done like any big weddings, but it doesn't matter. If it's small, big, whatever, the bride is usually has some kind of stress level associated with it. And I already know when I get those wedding phone calls, I am going to be on the phone with that person longer than someone who just needs a simple document signed. Same thing happens for my power of attorneys and wills. It's like marriage and death. I'm on the phone with the people longer because it's a more stressful situation. So I have that factored in my cost. I know the initial conversation is going to be a little bit longer than normal. I also know it might be a few more follow-up calls, even though I'm doing a simple wedding ceremony, just because I know that the brides tend to be a little bit anxious. And even if I have a bride that's pretty relaxed or chill or whatever, it's still certain follow-up. Still certain follow-up I'll do. So I'll still reach out to them and be like, hey, is everything still going smoothly or, running okay? Is there anything that I can do? Because I know these are stressful situations. So I have that factored in and I take that into consideration before I accept the job. Like, do I even have the time to commit to possibly going back and forth with this type of person or being able to handle what they have to offer? Because there's more to it than me just showing up on the day that they want me to perform their wedding ceremony. I know it's going to be some conversations beforehand, to make sure everything is ironed out. Do I have the capacity to do that? Or am I going to be aggravated about the whole situation and, not feeling like I want to do it? So I have that factored in to my fee structure when it comes to weddings. Once again, a wedding is a more, like April had said about the wedding dress, it's a luxury item. Having a wedding is more quote unquote like premium service. It's not as, it's not as straightforward. There's emotions involved. There's, it's a lot of sentimental stuff involved. Same thing with the powers of attorneys and wills. It's a lot of emotions involved. It's a lot of personalities involved. Do I have the mental capacity to deal with that? Do I have the bandwidth to deal with that? Because it's not just me showing up for the signing. So much so, I'll use an example. I just did a signing today. It was for a power of attorney. The person reached out to me, and this is kind of what prompted this video as well. The person reached out to me earlier this week. It was on my day off. I told them I was not available. I told them and the lady, she was really nice, but she was in a difficult situation, needed this power of attorney. Her family member was not doing well. But at the same time, I did not have the mental bandwidth to deal with that. Also, too, with the power of attorney, I already know when they contact me in that kind of panic state, they and she wasn't like really, really panicked, but it's always a sense of urgency. Like they kind of want it done that day, and that's what you'll find with a lot of general notary work. Like they want it done that day. But given I know that it's a power of attorney, like you got to have a couple of witnesses. And with you contacting me at the last minute, I kind of already know you don't have any witnesses probably lined up for me to even be able to do the signing. So, which she didn't. Because when I mentioned this, I'm like, okay, well, she hasn't even really looked at the paperwork. Honestly, I like, well, usually with the power of attorney, you usually require witnesses. Do your documents require witnesses? She was like, oh, I don't even know. Let me look. Lo and behold, like I said, it requires witnesses. Well, who can I get as a witness? And I was like, well, do you have any witnesses? And she didn't. I already knew. I said, I'm not available because I am not trying to rush up there, do this signing, help you line up these witnesses on my day off when I'm just chilling and relaxing. And I'm in my relaxation mode. So what you're not about to do is have me at a stress level because you're in a stressful situation. No, I'm not available. I hope you find someone. If not, call me back and I'll be available this weekend, which is what ended up happening. I did it this weekend when she couldn't find anyone. But what I am not about to do is pay somebody to stress me out. I'm not about to do that. I'm going to get paid for my aggravation. And if I don't feel like being bothered with it, then I just let it go. Now, I will say, I do understand. I do have that luxury. Some of you are doing these side hustles, or some of you are in the notary work, and you definitely need the extra money, and you can't turn it away, so to speak. But I definitely understand. I have that luxury where I can say yes or no to jobs, and I don't have to be so eager and anxious over some of the jobs. And we're going to actually talk about that. Let me put a pin there about being eager and anxious over some of these jobs. But no, and it ended up working out just fine. It ended up being a good experience. The person was still so very grateful to me for providing the service, because when I show up at my best, you're going to get the best of me and you're going to get the best experience possible. So I'm already self-aware and know, I won't say she wouldn't have gotten the best of me or whatever, but it's like, I'm just not in the mood to do it today. Now, I didn't tell her that. I just told her I didn't have any availability to do it. But you need to be mindful of that. What is it costing you in terms of your peace? What is it going to cost you in terms of it being aggravating? And I know these type of situations, whether it's a power of attorney or a wedding, that they're going to cost me a little bit more in terms of like emotional bandwidth, mental bandwidth, that kind of thing. And so I charge it's factored into my price as like a convenience fee. Like how inconvenient is this going to be for me? And if it's too inconvenient, I'm just going to say no. But I do have it factored in because I know in certain situations it's going to be more hand holding. It's going to cost me a little bit more in terms of what I have to provide mentally to the person. So take that into consideration. Like I said, some of us, especially, and I know I'm talking more specifically to notaries. Some of us, when it comes to the notary stuff, you're like, oh, that's only going to take me 20 minutes, so I'm only going to charge them $30. No, ma'am. No, sir. Like it is so many other factors that go into stuff, and making sure the people have their stuff in a row and they're not calling you with back and forth stuff. And even with that, as we're coordinating stuff, it was several text messages that were sent. She ended up calling me back. It's just more back and forth stuff. And so all you're looking at it as 20 minutes here, when I want to say like our initial phone conversation, it was already like 15 minutes or whatever. So it's like, it's not as cut and dry. Stop looking at it as just getting paid per hour. And you're so happy that you made, I don't know, $30, $40, $50 doing something. And you're like, it only took 20 minutes, but what did it cost you on the back end? You spent 15, 30 minutes on the back end communicating with the person, that you don't factor in to the situation all the time. So what is it costing me in terms of the product that I'm using to make it, that kind of thing? What is it costing me in terms of time? And what is it costing me in terms of my peace? All right. April says my mama would be her witness. April, you are a mess. All right. Now, the other thing you need to factor in is what you already always factor in is how much time does it take? That's the easy thing. So if it does take more time, I will assign a higher cost to it as part of like the convenience fee. It's as well, or possibly the travel fee, depending on, if I have to travel farther. So it just depends. So you want to think about that as well. When you're setting up your like travel fees, if you're a mobile notary, you may want to say, hey, I'll travel within this particular vicinity for X amount of money. Anything outside of that vicinity, it increases based off of that. So factor that in terms of time when it comes to your travel, as well as time as how convenient it is for you. Because once again, certain situations, it's going to be more time consuming. Not to be like discriminatory, but if you know that you're working with an older population, they typically are going to move a little bit slower. You're going to have to take a little bit extra time to make sure they understand what you're saying, because that's your job as a notary, to make sure that they understand what they're signing. So sometimes you're going to have to repeat stuff, make sure that they can hear you, and go over stuff and make sure they understood and get verbal response that they understood. So sometimes that takes a little bit more time. Same thing with the weddings. Sometimes people are running behind. Everybody didn't show up at the same, at the right time. So you want to factor that into your price. Like, okay, yeah, the wedding ceremony only takes it only takes like 10 minutes really for me, especially for a short ceremony. Even if they add some elements in it, like it doesn't really take a whole lot of time. But if someone is late, or they are not all the way together, and now they're 15 minutes late, I have that factored in. Like, hey, I have allocated this amount of time for you, and this is what the fee is going to be for your wedding. So just factor that in and let them know, like, anything beyond that, then there's an additional fee. So how much time is it taking? And you're oftentimes, even with the time thing, you're thinking, what happens if everything goes well? And yeah, if everything goes well and all it takes is 15 minutes, great. But if things don't go well and something that should have taken 15 minutes ends up taking 45 minutes, have you factored that into your price? Have you factored that in? Also, what is it, when it comes to that time as well, what is it, and the cost, what is it costing you for you to be away for that time and not having other business? Like, that is keeping you from, going to your next appointment or being able to help someone else or whatever, because you have to set up your schedule accordingly so that you're not like overbooking yourself and like, oh, I set up, I thought it would only take 15 minutes. So I set up this appointment at 12, and then I set up the next appointment at 12:30 because it was right around the corner. But this person is already running 15 minutes late, and now you're rushing to your next appointment. So you got to take that into consideration. Not only what happens if it goes right, but what would happen if something goes wrong. All right, so that was how much time does it take? And then the other factors I kind of mentioned is, what is it costing you in terms of like you missing out on potentially other clients that you could possibly be servicing, but also, are there any risk associated with you doing any of these activities? And so for the notary work, just like in the incident that I had, if you're doing any notary work at a hospital, in a nursing home, in some kind of medical facility, you definitely want to factor in the time, because usually sometimes in those facilities there's like a check-in process. If it's a big hospital, you got to figure out what floor you're going to and get there and in the parking situation, that kind of thing. So It's not like you can just run into the hospital, really quick or whatever. It's like, yeah, you might have to be parking in a parking garage. Now you got to go to the 10th floor, and then you got to go into the ICU unit or whatever. And it's only like get your visitor's pass, all that kind of stuff. So now a signing that would have taken 20, 30 minutes, you have to factor in an extra 10 to 15 minutes just from parking and like navigating the actual building and the situation and making sure you arrive on time. So definitely, if you do any signings at any medical facility, definitely take that into consideration when it comes to that. Also, the other thing you want to take into consideration at these medical facilities is it is risky. Like, what is the risk of you exposing yourself to these various diseases, especially like the Rona is still out there, y'all. Rona is still out. So what happens if you catch something from you visiting one of these facilities, and now you've gotten sick, and now not only can you not work your main job, you can't work your side hustle because you in quarantine because you done caught the Rona or whatever. So consider those risks as well, especially when you're putting yourself in certain situations. Same thing if you do any signings at like a jail. I have never done a signing at a jail, but even with that, there's a certain protocol. Like you need to get there. You have to go through a process. Like they just not letting any and everybody walk up in the jail. There's procedures that has to take place before they will let you into the facility, and that is a time factor. There's also a risk factor. Like I don't think the prisoners are trying to escape on a regular basis. I don't know, but what if something happened? What if there was a some kind of fight that broke out, or what? Who knows, or whatever? Or what if the person got upset with you because they didn't know they were supposed to be signing these papers or whatever? Who knows? You just don't know. So when you put yourself in these quote unquote risky situations, have you factored that in to what it's costing you? And like I said, costing you not just in terms of time, because it does cost you more time, but what else can it potentially cost you if things do not go as planned? If you get, an infection, or, get exposed to something, or something happens to you at one of these facilities. So are you factoring all of that stuff in when you are determining your price? Because people know, like if you are the low price, sometimes you'll realize when you're charging a low price, you get lower, how should I say this? Lower clientele, lower quality clientele as well. Okay. Because you're going to be putting up with more junk and, stuff, because once again, the value that you've assigned to your service is low. So if the value you've assigned to your service is low, then you might get treated with low quality from your clients as well. So, and that's why I'm okay. If somebody says I'm too high and they don't want to deal with me, I'm like, fine. It's not a big deal, because once again, I told you, if it's costing me any of my peace, I don't want it. I don't want it. And that kind of energy, I don't really care for, nor do I want. So I am not even upset. Thank you for excusing yourself out of the equation without me having to do so. I greatly appreciate it. All right, let's see. April, you are a mess. April's talking about convenience fee. I like that. Yeah, how it's really an inconvenience fee, because like how inconvenient is this going to be for me? And then she also talking about Rona fee. Yes. And this is once again where I'm talking about switching your mindset from an employer to a business owner. Like these medical facilities, especially when the virus was at like its height, there was an additional charge tacked on for like the PPE equipment and stuff like that, for them having to protect themselves from the virus and everything. So if these big dollar facilities, these big dollar companies are charging an additional fee, what makes you think that you shouldn't charge a fee? Like they understand, like the blueprint is written for us, y'all. The blueprint is there. You just got to read it and follow it. Like, it's not like I'm saying anything new. It's not like I'm saying anything that's unheard of. Other people are doing it. You just got to be smart enough to do the same thing. and protect yourself. And they're doing that to make sure they are protected, because all that extra equipment and all the extra stuff that they had to get and wear and stuff like that, it's a cost associated with that. It's a fee associated with that. They can't just absorb that fee for all of the different patients and stuff that they saw, because eventually they're going to lose money. And in our case, it might not like equally equate to you losing money, but it equates to you kind of like getting frustrated and aggravated and feeling like, hey, I'm spending all this money on this, or I'm spending this extra time doing this, and it's not worth it. And so then you get frustrated with your business because you're like, I don't see where I'm making a profit, or it's just not worth me doing it. And it's just because you're not charging appropriately for the services that you're providing. So charge for your value, charge for the value that you are providing. And then April talking about a jail fee. Yes, because you might not make it out. No, hopefully not. Like I said, that's worst case scenario. But you just never know. But you're putting yourself at a higher risk for that. Why do you think? So like at one point in time, even in my, like I was approached by a prison in my regular job. So, you know, I'm an optometrist, so I see patients. So there's a prison in the area, and they need, and I have several patients that actually work at like the different prisons in the area. And one of my patients was telling me that they did not have an optometrist there and they needed it. And I was like, okay, well, let me see what it's like or whatever. I said, well, give them my information and I'll consider it and everything. Y'all, I didn't sign up for that. I did not. Because it's a cost associated with that. Like, you know, you do have to have certain like vaccinations and stay up, you know, just in general, as a medical professional, you have to have certain vaccinations to protect yourself from what you might be exposed to in the public. Also, too, like my malpractice insurance, it could potentially have went up because of the risk associated with me working in the prison and that kind of thing. So I was like, it's just costing me. And for what they were going to pay, I'm like, this is costing me too much. It is costing me too much on the back end to make it worth it for me to do it. So you just have to think about that. And once again, if these other people are tacking on fees, like I said, my malpractice insurance could have possibly went up just because of the facility that I would have been working in. These other people are taking these risks into consideration. You need to take these risks into consideration as well as a business owner, okay? So that's what I had. Those were the things to consider when it comes to your pricing, that you might have, it's more to it than how much time you are spending one-on-one with the client signing the documents. Now, really quick, some of y'all be like, well, I don't know if I can charge that much. What if they tell me no, or they don't want to do it? You know, I just want to get started and get some business and get some exposure and get some experience. I get it, y'all, but there is still a way for you to get exposure and get experience. And yes, you will get pushback. I get it all the time from people not wanting to pay. And I just don't take offense at it at all. I'm like, okay, well, I'll have someone else that will pay me, you know, 3 times as much as what this one person is paying me. So essentially what that tells me is I only need 1/3 of the customers to make just as much money as what somebody who is lowballing is charging or whatever. So when you charge a low fee, that means you have to service more customers in order to make the amount of money that I potentially could make. Okay. And you are only one person and there's only 24 hours in a day. So we have the same amount of time in the day. Unless you have somebody working for you, it's going to cost you 2, 3, 4 times as much to make what I might make when I only see one person, and you have to see 3 or 4 people to make what I make or whatever. So don't lowball yourself, because that's just making you work more. And eventually you're going to hit a cap, because there's only so many hours in the day that you can work. So make sure you are providing for the value of the service that you are providing. Okay. Also, like I said, when you get pushback, and some people, and I'll even say, like, some people will say it like I'm too high, and some people will say it in a nice way, and some people will say it in a not so nice way. And for the ones that are nice, I will even suggest, hey, check with your bank. A lot of times they have a notary on staff and they might be able to do it for you as a courtesy. I'll even tell them that, like, hey, you can get this done for free. You don't have to pay me. Here's a way for you to get it done for free. Now, and I don't mind sharing it. And like I said, I don't mind them going to look for someone else because I'm secure in the price that I'm charging. And I know that I'm not overcharging by the service that I provide. Like, I'm secure in what I'm charging. And so if you're nice to me, I'll happily say, hey, have you looked into your bank? Your bank might have a notary who can do this for you at no charge or at no cost or whatever. Now, notice what I'm saying. They'll do it for you at no charge. They'll do it for you as a courtesy. I do not say they'll do it for you for free. Because one thing, it's not free. It's still a value to what I'm providing. So I'm still very strategic in the words that I use. Like, it's a courtesy. They're doing it as a courtesy for you because you're a customer of their bank. You have no affiliation to me. So I don't have a reason to do anything for you at no charge as a courtesy because we have no affiliation. We have not talked beforehand. But your bank, someone you have a relationship with, someone who you put money in and they use your money and they get more loans and make money off of your money, they might do it as a courtesy for you. But no, I don't do it. No, we don't have that kind of relationship for me to do it as a courtesy or as part of or at no charge. And the other thing with that too, if you're saying, well, yeah, I know there are banks, they can go up the street, they can do it for free, or the UPS store only does it for this particular price. The bank or the notary at the UPS store, oftentimes or sometimes, definitely at the bank, they are already an employee of the bank. Meaning whether they do one notary that day or 20 notaries that day, that person is going to make the same money per hour because they are an employee of the bank. You coming in with that notarization or someone coming in to have a notarization done does not change the salary that they're paid. Versus me, this is my business. This is my side hustle. So I make money off of the people who are coming to me. It's not like I have a backup or, I'm guaranteed an X amount of money per day with this service like the people are at the bank or the people are at the UPS store. No, it does not work like that. So yeah, the bank can do it for free because that is not the main job of the bank. The bank is a courtesy. It's a courtesy that they're providing for you. It's not the normal thing that they do. They make money off of helping you deposit your money, withdraw your money, getting you a loan. That's how they make money. They make money that way, not off of these notarizations. It is a courtesy. And because it's a courtesy, that's why they can do it for free. There are things that I do in my business as a courtesy. Like if you have some documents, I might print them off for you as a courtesy without charging for them because I don't rely on me printing off documents to make money. I rely on making money from me doing my notarizations and stuff, not from me printing off documents. So I will do that as a courtesy to you because it's not something that I regularly do on a regular basis. It's not something that is requested of me on a regular basis. But with you being my customer and me already servicing you, I have no problem doing that for you at no charge because of our client relationship. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you get pushback. Don't get upset about it. Don't get all beat up about it. Don't think that I got to lower my prices to compete with these people because you're not competing. You're losing. The people at the bank are already making their money and you're not making as much as you could possibly because you're so worried that they're going to run down the street and get it done for free. I could really care less. I really could care less. You think Walmart cares about what the people are buying at Target? They are still selling their stuff. Target is still selling their stuff. Yeah, at the end of the day, if there's a big discrepancy, or I should say at the end of the year, if they say, oh, we took a really big loss or whatever, then yeah, maybe they'll look into it. But they people gonna go to Target, people gonna go to Walmart. Everybody gonna end up making money. And you don't have to lowball yourself just to ensure that you're making money. So That's what I have to say about that. Also, when it comes to the last thing I'm going to say is when it comes to me trying to decide, like even with that example with the power of attorney that I had or whatever, and I wasn't available, I'll let people know, like, I'm not in a hurry to take your money. So some of the new notaries, yes, you're eager to get your feet wet. You're hearing about how people are making all this money as a notary, so you want to get started. But I'm trying to see how I can say this. Direct that energy in a better way. Like, don't be so eager and anxious, because people can smell blood. Like, people can tell. People take advantage of situations. Like, they can smell when someone is probably new, and can capitalize on that, especially when you're charging a low fee. So don't be so eager and anxious and so accommodating that people start I won't say, yeah, I guess sometimes they can start walking over you or really questioning you for what you're charging. When you're a little bit too flexible, a little bit too accommodating for people, it can let them know, like, hey, you're not that busy, so you're going to do whatever it takes to get their business, even if it's something that you might not really want to do, or maybe you really didn't want to charge this fee, but you did charge this fee, and now you're realizing it's costing you more aggravation than you thought. So don't be so eager and anxious. So just like in my power of attorney example, like I wasn't as eager and anxious to get it. One, I was, it was my day off, so I was just chilling. But also too, like I said, I know they probably didn't have their stuff lined up. Like, I know they probably didn't have their witnesses or anything like that. So why am I going to be all eager beaver to take this assignment when I know 9 times out of 10 I can't come and do it that day because you don't have your stuff in order. And so now we're going to have to reschedule it to another day. And now, I'm running around you trying to secure a witness within, an hour or 2 hours just to try and make money that day. Like, I'm not that eager. I'm not that anxious for business. So when you project that, or when you act that way, and some of it is just from you not knowing what is expected of some of the documents, then people can sometimes use that situation to their advantage and take advantage of you. So if I'm not in the mood to do something, I just won't do it. And even if I am available to do something, I still don't tell people. If I have the whole day available, just like on that day, I had the whole day available because it was my day off. So say I was in the mood to do it, I'm not going to tell them I have the whole day available. I'm usually going to give them 2 times. Like, does this time work for you, or do you prefer this? Or are you available in the morning or the afternoon? And so, I'm going to give them 2 options. I'm not going to let them monopolize my whole day. Or because if something comes up, they'll be like, oh, you didn't have any appointments that day, so we can push it back. No, I am not going to let you control my whole day. So I give them limited availability to me because I don't need you to have full access. Also, if you studied sales, or like a sales mentality or whatever, creating a scarcity mindset in your consumer prompts them to want to do business with you. That's why they have sales, like limited time only, clearance stuff or whatever. The special is only for a limited time. That scarcity mindset, or only for a select few of people. Like even with the Black Friday, that's why people head out to the Black Friday. They know it's for that day and the supplies are limited. So you got to get in line and get to the stuff at a certain time. That scarcity mindset gets people to buy. So when you're like, oh, I only have this time available and that time available, if they really want to go with you and you've shown your customer service and your expertise, and you've just had a good presentation, so to speak, like you presented yourself well to them, they are going to want to do business with you. And even like I said, with that other person, I said, call around, see if you can find someone. And if not, reach back out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you this weekend. Like, I let her know, like, I'm not available today. I'm not available this week. I am available for the weekend. So if you don't find anyone, then give me a call back and I'll be happy to assist you. But no, I'm not easily and readily available at your whim. And part of that is because I have my own business. I have other obligations that I have to pursue. So, but even if you don't have other obligations, don't just let people know that you're wide open and you're not busy. Because then people start thinking, well, she's not busy. Something must be wrong. Something must be wrong with her or whatever. Don't ever let people know that you're that available. Okay. You got to create some kind of scarcity mindset in your consumer, which actually prompts them to want to do business with you. And this is actually what happened with that. What is that guy? The Madoff guy who scammed people out of all that money in the stock market. That's how he was able to scam people. He was like, oh, well, this business investment is only limited to a certain type of people or a certain group of people. I don't want to bother you with it, or I don't know if you might have enough to be able to invest. And because it created that scarcity mindset, people fell for it and ended up giving them their money. Now, I'm not saying scam people. That is not what I'm saying. But the scarcity mindset definitely helps when it comes to business. But it also protects you. It protects me because it protects my peace. Because what you're not about to do is think that you have me available whenever you think you can call me, because that is not going to be the case. All right, I'm about to wrap it up because I see it has been an hour. I didn't think I was going to talk this long, y'all. I thought it'd only be like 30 minutes or so. April says, I'm always bust even when I'm not. Oh, busy. I was like, what you mean bust? That's right. I'm always busy. Yeah, I got stuff to do. Even if it's just me chilling, watching my favorite show. Yeah, and yes, April, she says, yes, the Ponzi scheme. Yeah, he made it seem like, this might not be the best investment for you. You might not have enough. I forget exactly the language, but like you might not have enough money to invest in it, or no, I know you usually invest in this kind of thing. This wouldn't be the kind of thing that would interest you. And because of that, people thought that they couldn't get into it. It made them want to get into it even more. All right. And that's why I say these business strategies, whether you have a notary business or any other type of business, they will apply. And my goal is to help business owners and entrepreneurs. I want to see us all doing well. I want you to learn from my mistakes as well. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Also, y'all, thank y'all so much for engaging. But also, if you could put in the comments what was your biggest takeaway from this, I would greatly appreciate it, because that'll also let me know what other topics y'all are interested in or what other topics I should continue to focus on. All right, so I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks, guys.